All right, welcome back to episode 2 of the Openclaw Bootcamp, where we build a multi-agent system from scratch. So today we're gonna really be focused on all the individual modules, as well as building out features, getting ready for the multi-agent team setup next week, and wiring everything together. So if you're watching this recording, fast forward, about 5 minutes, we'll get started. I just wanna get chat rolling and do this intro. And without squirrel ado, let's swap the screen share open, shall we? What's good, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. How's everyone doing today? Who's excited? Yo, what's up, zombie? What up, Slinger? Welcome back. What up, Quad? Hey, I wish I could give you a little virtual espresso. And then I see some chat from earlier, but I can't pin them because they came after the fact of starting this. So I'll pin what I can. What's up, Barlet? Racking? What's up, Rack? Thanks for tuning in. All right, so I'm just gonna banter here for a second. Man, today I was exhausted come like 30 minutes before the stream, and I thought I need a power nap. So I took a little 15-minute power nap. I'm feeling revitalized, re-energized. I mean, it could be that double espresso that I just drank as well. But I felt like a zombie, and I was like, I cannot just power through these next 30 minutes without taking a little shut-eye. So luckily my alarm woke me up. We didn't sleep through it. I wouldn't do that. I've been taking power naps since college. It's I love it personally. It works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. What's up, Raymond? Welcome back. What's up, Mikael? How do you pronounce that? Let's go. Hey, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Happy to hear it. How's the music sound? Is it too loud, too little? Let me know. Yeah, I had to. It was after my appointment today. I got back to the house and I'm like, man, did a few things. And it's just like, I needed that nap, that power nap for the win. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I also made some improvements to kind of the stream as well to encourage people who aren't already subscribed. If you're chatting right now, that means you've been subscribed longer than an hour. Currently on our live streams, I enabled a little feature that says only comments allowed if you're subscribed, which is a simple way to support the channel. So I really wanted to focus these live streams around answering questions that people who actually support us, rather than, silent watchers who don't even subscribe, but they're asking these questions and getting all these detailed answers, right? I really wanted to enable that just for these live streams. The normal long form videos, I'm not gonna enable that feature, but it was a feature that I discovered this morning I thought was pretty cool. And also moving forward for live streams, I'm listening to the community. I know that my process of only scheduling 3 hours ahead is kind of inconvenient for some. So I'm gonna start scheduling live streams 24 hours, roughly 24 hours in advance, so that you have a full day to prepare. There's no question as far as the start time for the following day. And I did listen to that post that you guys made. Today, due to that appointment, didn't want to reschedule it. We had to start at 5 p.m. local, but moving forward, it is going to be 4 p.m. Lisbon, 9 a.m. PST, until the time change, of course. Then we'll go back to that 9 a.m. PST/5 p.m. Lisbon time. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad I'm not alone here. I've been told I'm crazy for this. Yeah. So I only did 15 because 20, it would have woken me up like a few minutes before stream. So I prefer 20 though. If I'm being honest, I prefer 20. That's what's up though. I already started my OS from scratch 2 times, so I can't wait for the next chapter and ideas to see how well. Hey, listen, I set mine up from scratch. Muddy OS was like I lost count. I lost count how many times I started over, if I'm being honest with you. So it's a good thing. That's the whole point. You're never gonna one-shot these things. Anybody who tells you it's a one-shot is lying to your face, okay? It is not a one-shot. It takes time. It takes multiple iterations. And just scratching something, if you don't like it, and rebuilding from scratch with that knowledge and experience that you gained from, the initial builds, the initial attempts. So I'm all for that. I couldn't be more of an advocate for scratch it, restart, over and over and over again, That's good. Yes, of course. These live in a, let's actually go check out the channel real quick. So you'll notice on our channel, I kind of structure things in a way where I guess the for you stays there. Openclaw up top because it's something I've been making more content around recently. And then down here is the free mini series. It will live in perpetuity on YouTube in this free mini series here on this playlist. So as we progress, I'll just keep marking it a part of this playlist and you can come back anytime to watch it. It is a total lie. It is a total lie. I need to restart my system as memory for multi-agents is really killing me. Interesting. Okay. I'd love to hear a little bit more as far as like what specifically, like where in the process are you? What's killing you? Was the initial setup and flow okay, but then once you started adding more context and you know, day-to-day operations, it started to essentially chew through your usage? That's what I'm guessing. I do have some solutions, some workarounds for that. Yo, what's up, Jordan? Wow, 32 of you. I appreciate you. So before we get started, listen, I'm doing all this for free. So the least that you can do is do the things that you can do for free to support this live stream and this channel. Smash that like button. Share this with a friend. We should have 32 likes if there's 32 of you watching, all right? We're gonna get started here momentarily. So I'll give you some time to go smash that like. It really does help out the channel, believe it or not. It helps out discoverability for these live streams. For it to be, you know, appear at the top of the YouTube suggested feature for, you know, new viewers. What's up, Joe? Thanks for tuning in. How you doing today? Hey, can ever do it. I appreciate you. Listen, I'm just gonna keep showing up every day and stay true to what I believe is the right thing to do, you know? And I believe the right thing to do is give away all the sauce for free, right? As Greg Eisenberg says. Even though, like, shout out Greg Eisenberg, but last time I tuned into one of his like private live streams, or it was like through a Loom or something, it was so like slow and like geared towards upselling. I didn't last through the whole thing. Sorry, Greg. But I'll never sell a course here. I'll never paywall anything. Hey, I appreciate you, Juan. Let's go, Ganj. Appreciate you, Joe. Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell. What's that movie from? I think it was an Adam Sandler movie, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, without scroll to do, what's up, Paul? From the UK. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your support. What do you guys think, chat? Should I wait until we get the number of likes for the number of watchers right now? Should I just that double espresso has me going. That I went from waking up from that power nap, a little sluggish, to having all the spice and energy right now. Maybe we do withhold the boot camp until I see 32 likes. Oh. All right, now this is for the YouTube transcript. Thank you, Quad. No, I won't do that to you guys. Listen, I understand. Some people are watching where they can't like. I know a number of people watch this on the TV, and I don't think you can like it on the TV, at least not easily. So I'm just messing with you guys and girls. And what's up? IT Sec Pro from Puerto Rico. What's good? Let's go. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support. I just got semantic memory running after 2 days. Hey, listen, at least you got it running. You learned a lot through that process, I bet, right? Today I did update Openclaw. I usually wait about a week to update. I also realized that Goat was running off an older version. So this morning I spent about 2 hours updating it. And the reason I spent so long is I would create these snapshots pre-patch, right? Every time I apply an update to Openclaw on my systems, on my VM, I take a snapshot before the update. Because more often than not, the update will brick something. It'll break something with the way I have things configured. And I spent about 2 hours getting it to work with my environment. But we're running 3.8, the 2026 .3.8 version across my main system as well as Goat OS. Interesting, okay. You know, I haven't been running into this as much, and I frequently /new sessions all the time. I always hit /new to start every day. Sometimes I do it multiple times a day. Because my system has so much involved, it's like I do notice usage start to spike if I don't do that. Yep. I'm okay. I did find that, let's get started, shall we? Let's go take a look at, I also want to walk through this. I had to do this earlier today, but I wanted to make sure anybody who has this environment has access to this information. But I did have to go in here, right? And add in the token manually. Visiting the URL with the token attached did not work. It did not automatically apply the gateway token here. So I had to manually come in here, hit connect, and voila, it worked on my host PC. But let's briefly get started. Let's go look at the past week of what GoatOS has done, all of the automations we set last Wednesday, and then we'll start building for episode 2 here. So thanks everyone for your patience. For the transcript, we are starting the bootcamp now. So let's review the past 7 days. First and foremost, I discovered on Friday during our live stream when I wanted to just peek at what was being built, the front end server was down. Now, my VM will restart from time to time. When you update, it restarts, right? So I had to apply this systemd services. All you got to do is screenshot this, feed it to your agent if you have my type of setup. And these 4 commands, essentially, no matter what, gateway restart, system restart, anything, it automatically spins up your Openclaw dashboard, gateway, as well as any servers that you set up on your machine, okay? And as you can see here, looks like we have everything running. So let's go take a look at the last week. Do a hard refresh. Oh, interesting. Let's duplicate that. That's the main server, I believe. Let's go check the staging. So the staging's up, but the main goat isn't up. So let's vibe it, shall we? Hey, goat. So I'm just starting this live stream for episode 2, and we're trying to look at the production environment on port 8800, but it's not loading. It's just a blank, dark screen. Whereas when I spin up port 8900 for the staging environment, it is actually populating. It's showing me everything. It looks like you built a lot, which is great. But let's please fix that. Let me know what the root cause of that is so that I can share this with the audience. So let's get that main port working here. And I'll double check on comments while we wait. You know, I haven't personally tested it yet because my system's been working solid with Opus 4.6 as a primary and Codex 5.3, which, by the way, I know 5.4 is out, or GPT 5.4 rather, and I've been hearing great things about it. I might have to just spin up a new OC instance and use GPT 5.4 from scratch to see, like, apparently the personality has improved a ton. And I'm interested. I'm very interested because they're the only model right now that openly said you can use our subscriptions for Openclaw. So that's very, very positive. But I haven't personally tested it. I've just been hearing good things across Twitter, but Twitter in general. Yes. So that's coming next week when we wire that multi-team. We're gonna kind of finish that skeleton this week. This week's all about building features within each module, but next week is the episode focused solely on multi-team setups, or multi-agent team setups rather. Yeah, that's why I love Claude Opus 4.6. It's just been solid for every OC build I've played with. Yeah, so this is a hack actually, having a backup OC just to troubleshoot issues on your primary OC setup, if I'm interpreting that right. So this is something you have to vibe with your bot, right? With your agent, and explain that, and then reference docs.openclaw.ai and say, what's the solution, right? Don't just say fix it for me. What's the solution, so I have a better understanding of why this is happening. Hey, what's up, Sky? Doing pretty well with local hosted using LM Studio. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, it does depend on your hardware. That's why I'm not doing it right now. What's up, Derek? Welcome. How you doing today? Thanks for being here. This is entirely up to you, right? You don't necessarily have to if you don't want to, right? I like the idea of an OS so you can visualize everything that's going on. You can organize everything that's going on. You can start creating certain features for your multi-agent team setup. But if you to answer this question, listen, I don't think everyone needs to build their own OS. I'm doing this because of the popularity of that video, right? Muddy OS is just teaser as to how I have it running. I was like, wow, people want to see how to build their own. So let me do this bootcamp to build your own, right? Listen, I don't think everyone needs their own OS. I really don't, right? I think it's just evaluating whether or not you need it. I think that depends. It's it's use case. Music too loud. Let me bring that down. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that's better there. I'm getting my Claude to work, but time's out after 7 or so hours. Is there a good workaround? You mean your OC using Claude, right? And how does it time out? Do you set certain cron jobs that just don't kick off? Is that how you notice it? I need a little bit more specifics here to be helpful. Fix that. Yeah, that's good. Listen, I'm an advocate for find a model that works for you and use it, right? Everyone's going to tell you what they're using. You don't have to go follow the train of what everybody else is doing. If you found something that's working for you, just use it as is. I won't tell you to go use one model versus the other. I'll share what model I'm using and why it works for me, but I'll never tell you to use that as your primary. Yeah, that's just the nerd in me. All right, let's get to it. So we really want to focus on executing here. So let's see what was happening with that port. HTML is serving fine on both. Issues likely React apps itself. JS error on prod doesn't exist on staging. Let me compare. Okay. After 8 consecutive overnight builds, staging had Session Explorer. Okay. Synced staging and server into production, restarted the service. Yeah, so the reason the overnight builds kept stacking up is we're only working on this OS during live streams, which kick off every Wednesday. So is there any workaround here? I don't want to come in and do things off air, right? I really want to show every step of the way for anybody tuning into these live streams, which, it'll eventually be a mini series. So what's our solution? Do we just X the staging environment altogether? I think it was a great idea at first, but maybe we just X that whole process altogether with the overnight builds. I mean, as you can see here, it run let's go take a look now while it's answering my questions. Let's go to the brain. Let's look at each brief. So look, each brief kicked off. This is awesome. I didn't know if it was going to work or not, to be honest. I knew I set things up properly, but you have some doubts. When you stop looking at something for a week, is it actually going to continue to run? So as you can see, our daily briefs kicks off. Let's see, Wednesday, this was during the live. We don't need to read that. Let's go look at Thursday. It looks like it detected the issue for what we discussed here, right? Review overnight build. Memory view was built overnight, needs visual function review. We'll go check that out in a bit. Looks like it's broken. Interesting. Yeah, it looks like that's broken, so that's not actually working. That's a bummer. Let's go look at the next overnight build. Session Explorer. So that would be in ops, sessions. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at our original mission control that we built out on episode 1, right? We had this active sessions module section here. We incorporated the click, pop-up module, but it looks like it built its own kind of Sessions Explorer with this vertical menu bar, which I think is kind of cool. Interesting. Look at that. You can check crons, you can check isolated. This I find interesting because I could have sworn we specified isolated sessions for those crons. Interesting. I kind of like this though. I almost like this better than this pop-up Session Explorer. Huh. Okay. Well, let's go. So that was Friday. System Pulse was Saturday. So let me do a few of them. That way we can go review them at the same time. Activity feed. Where did this go? Ops module. Okay. We'll do 2 at a time. Okay. Activity feed. Looks like it does have a feed here. However, it shows nothing here. Or I guess it's just, I don't see the point in this. Interesting. And then it has a cron manager as well. We didn't build this, did we? So this error, I'm guessing, is because it has no delivery channel to just notify us that the cron was completed. Because A, we didn't set up Telegram or Discord on this one. We're primarily working out of the dashboard. So I think a solution there is just have it ping the main gateway chat. Okay. So cron manager was Mondays. What's Tuesday? Brain analytics. Let's go take a look at that, and then let's check Wednesdays this morning. Config inspector. Okay. Let's go look at analytics. Ooh. This feels like this should be an ops module, no? Yeah, this definitely feels like an ops module more than a brain module. In mission control. For sure it does. Wow. And then what was the lab? Let's see, build logs. Oh, nice. We had the build logs in here too for the overnight builds. So we can kind of see into why it chose to do that, what its design decisions were, what files were changed. Okay. Config inspector, read-only searchable view of Openclaw gateway configuration. Nice. Ah, it's broken. So two of the 7 cron jobs don't work, but they actually built overnight. That's awesome. So it was config inspector, and then I believe it was analytics, or no, it was memory. Yeah, it was memory. All right, let's go see what. Don't X the overnight builds. They're your best features. 8 builds in 8 nights, 0 failures. I hate to break it to you. We have 2 failures that aren't loading, but that's, at least the crons actually worked, right? It's the whole point of having an AI agent run your OS. Killing that would be like firing your best employee because you forgot to check their work. The problem isn't staging for production. It's the missing promotion step. Here are your options. Build directly into production. This is kind of what I'm leaning towards, to be honest with you. Because that's how my main system, that's how my Muddy OS and ClearMud OS operate. I just YOLO straight into production. Just point the overnight builds at production instead of staging. Auto promote after build. Yes, listen, since I don't want to do anything to this Goat OS off air, I think that the move is build directly into production. We review it each week, right? At the start of each bootcamp. I think that's honestly the move. Manually promote on stream. I mean, I guess we could, but we'll run into this at the beginning of each bootcamp. It's like, we can't get started on the episode without reviewing the week before. I think I'm just going to make the decision, build directly into production, right? I'm going to try to just glance over comments here really quick, see if it's related to any of these overnight builds this past week. This one here, we'll touch on this next week more in depth, but you should be able to, right? Each individual agent has its own workspace and it has its own set of tools that it can pull from. It's just a matter of enabling them and configuring them. And then each underlying sub-agent that agent spawns is responsible for spawning on your org chart will utilize the tools from the parent workspace. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think the staging was a good idea, but let's just build directly into production. So I'd like you to do some cleanup here for the past week. Let's go ahead and kill that staging environment. But of course, before you do, push everything to our production branch, right? Our production web server. And then out of the 8 self-improvements, the memory tab is giving me an infinite loading wheel. So that memory feature does not actually work. And then in laboratory, the config inspector also does not work. I get a HTTP 404 error. But I think moving forward, right, we got to also update our crons. We're Xing this whole staging environment approach. We're just going to build into production. That way, from week to week, we don't have to go and approve things that are backlogged up to 8 days. So go ahead and get that done, and then we'll move on with episode 2 curriculum. Right here. I love that you're referencing the docs. And hey, another thing, Sharma, you always, like anytime you're running into an issue, talk to it in plain English and say, please reference the docs for a workaround or a solution or an explanation, right? Because everything you need is in the docs.openclaw.ai. I'm going to say it again. Everything you need is in here. Everything your agent needs is in here. You don't need to pay anyone for a course to do what this can do for you. Like, it's all here. Everything you need is in this documentation to get your agent working the way you want it to work. To answer questions that you may have, just reference the docs. It's like a machine that helps you build machines. Meta. Love it. No, you're learning. You're learning. All right. Listen, as much as I want to go through every comment, we got to focus here. So we're going to time block comments and then focus Q&A around the end of the episode. But I love the fact that I'm seeing in chat, people are talking to one another, answering each other, helping each other. That's what this is all about. Help one another, right? I'm just so thrilled to see that. All right, we're just going to wait for it to do its thing. We're essentially Xing staging environment moving forward. Everything's going to happen in production. So let's be patient. Oh, I did bring some water. Wonderful. Got to make sure I don't drink too much of this so we don't have to do a little BRB sesh. Bro, I hate these caps over here. Okay. Killed the staging environment. Wonderful. Updated cron jobs. Now targets the primary directory for production. Great. What we have now, OS documentation runs at midnight. Scales production code, updates docs. Nightly backup, 2 a.m. Wonderful. One thing I'm also noticing is on the cron jobs, we kept running into an error saying there's no delivery channel. I think that the notifications should populate in the agent main chat, in this gateway chat. We don't have Telegram or Discord set up for this one. Additionally, let's see. All right, good. Staging is offline. However, the main production branch, 8800, is not loading. It's still giving me a blank black screen here. Let me try opening in a private tab. Yeah, it's not loading in a fresh tab either. Or a fresh window, rather. Don't just fix it. Let me know what was the root cause and let me know how we're going to resolve this moving forward so it's not a consistent issue. And no need to test fire one of the jobs right now. We'll do that towards the end. All right, so let's also pull up the curriculum for today, shall we? All right, so ops module, project board, task cards, assignees, status columns, great. Ops module, operations dashboard, which we kind of already have, and the system started building out certain features for this, which is awesome. Ops module, org chart from episode 1 into a working visual department. Okay, great. Stand-up meeting view. Okay, so we're doing a lot of front-end skeleton work in ops. Next week, we wire everything together. Brain module, memory viewer with split plane. I love how it, look at this, these crons. It like did some of the work for us today. This is great. Morning briefs page. We already technically did that last week. Skills directory viewer, great. This one's I'm excited for. Automation overview. Yeah, it already built that for us, which is awesome. Prototype management page with portfolio view of all prototypes, their running statuses, ports, scores, one-liner descriptions, great. Ideas gallery with idea cards. Ooh, I like that. Research dashboard, cross module wiring, great. And then we do have some master prompts here. So feel free to, now this is a master prompt for client work. I think I'm just gonna vibe this whole episode rather than paste this prompt in there. Unless you guys would rather have me just copy paste this prompt. Okay, old zombie held silently. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's adding a new rule. System service should explicitly kill anything on those ports before starting. All right, give me an updated, just a screenshot that the audience could screenshot here of that workflow for that automation, right, for their systems. Now, this won't apply to every setup, right? But if you have things set up how I have things set up, this will be very helpful for you. Does that port issue mean staging? I mean, it's possible, but the issue it was running into was overnight builds that become stale longer than a few days. It would cause issues, right? So I'd rather not have this start to each bootcamp be this, you know, prolonged start to where we're approving things that happen throughout the week. I'd rather just run it live in production personally, because that's how I have my system set up. So that's why I made that executive decision to just scrape the staging environment altogether. Yep, feel free to screenshot the screen here. But most of you probably don't need to, especially if you don't have this set up the way I have it set up. There we go. So we're on port 8800, we're on production. All of our overnight builds occurred, right? Wonderful. Now, I think we should kind of just make some adjustments before I start building out today's episode. All right, so everything appears to be working. This is great. Makes sense how it only has memory from 2 days, right? Because today is a fresh day. We haven't worked out here outside of the fourth, except for the second when we set things up, and there's literally nothing in that session MD, which is great. Just lets everybody know, full transparency. This is all that this system was used for back on February 2nd. Analytics. So the analytics tab in the brain module, this feels like this should be an ops mission control page more than anything. I think what you can do is marry the best of all of the analytics into the ops mission control. Yeah, let's do that. One thing I forgot to also check, let's go check the lab. All right, I don't want to expand too much because I don't want to expose any APIs, but this is actually really, really cool. Really cool. I don't even have this on MuddyOS. Because anytime I need to access the config file, I just go onto MuddyOS itself, right? And then also under prototypes, I still see staging as an option. Let's go ahead and remove that, please. All right, we're just making those final tweaks, and then we're going to start building out this episode here. So we can close that staging altogether. It's X. Why does that keep showing up? There we go. You know what? We'll just apply these prompts. That way, you guys can follow along. Rather than us just vibing the process. Listen, I'll let the audience decide. If you'd rather have me vibe this whole process or copy paste these prompts I provided and prepped, you let me know. I personally prefer to vibe it, but I think for the sake of validating the prompts themselves, it's better to just run the prompts here. All right, let's just go kind of preview some of its changes here, shall we? Mission control. Ooh, look at that. That looks way better. And then it just removed analytics from Brain altogether. I love it. Yeah, and before I get started with building out more features, I think we should analyze that cron. There's room for improvement, right? The fact that you built something out in the brain that should have gone into the ops is a clear disconnect. What can we do to improve the cron to make sure that, you know, whatever you self-improve on overnight goes into the, you know, the proper module. If it's ops related, it goes into ops. If it's brain related, it goes into brain. If it's lab related, it goes into lab. But then more importantly, never be redundant. You should always analyze the existing code base to see if there's something similar already built. So you're not building something similar to what already exists. What are your thoughts here? Go. Module ownership rules. Improvement over novelty. I love that line right there. Look at that. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Go for it. Oh, it looks like you're already on it. I love it. I don't even need to send that prompt. It's doing it for us. Okay. All right. Let's start pasting in those prompts, shall we? So let's build out the client ops build. Let's just review this really quick, make sure it's valuable. Upgrade my ops module into a daily command center for client work. I'm going to specify that in a second. That handle multiple accounts, need strict execution visibility. Task pipeline with stages. I don't know about those names, but I guess we'll rock it. Assignees, priorities, due dates, and blockers, deliverable tracking with client name, panels for operation dashboard, session monitoring, and okay. I feel like it's kind of missing something here. But let's go ahead and paste in this prompt. All right, go. Time to build out features in the ops dashboard. I'm going to copy paste a prompt that Muddy helped me prep for this demonstration. Make sure, right, like we've already done a lot of work and self-improvement work, rather self-builds overnight that have built out a lot of these features in ops. So let me know if you have any questions. Don't just blindly execute. Let's make sure we're not redundant here. I'm just going to call it consulting firm. And then I did say we're going to be rebuilding Muddy OS. So anything this prompt missed, what we're going to do is we're simply going to go and reference Muddy OS. So we have a board, we have a workspaces. That's actually critical. Docs. Where is docs in Goat OS? It is not in ops. You know what's interesting is we have a cron to update docs, but where's docs? That's the problem with vibing. I must have... I mean, I clearly didn't specify to create a docs tab, so we have to create a docs tab as well. Okay. All right, let me audit what we got first before I plan anything. Here's what I found. Existing ops. Okay, sessions, great. Dashboard, great. Overlap flags from your prompt. Okay. All right. All right, nice finds. Yeah, for the task pipeline, I think we should call that board or like PM board, for example. Everything else looks good. I have no notes. One other thought that just came to mind is we have a cron for, you know, fine-tuning a documentation section. However, we don't have a documentation tab anywhere in this OS. It's not in any module. I think that should live within the ops module, and it should always be the furthest option to the right as we populate more features. Make sense? You should use a vertical left menu bar to kind of highlight certain features in certain parts of the OS, and then call it like a quarter, three-quarter split on screen. The three-quarter view off to the right should be a markdown render preview of the docs. It shouldn't be a wall of text. It should be pleasant to read through. And there should also be a search feature to search keywords. But otherwise, yeah, the assignees for now is just me as we build out the multi-team setup next week. And you know, we'll fine tune that a little bit later today, but we'll wire it all next week. We're kind of just building the skeleton of all of the features today. Additionally, I think we should build out a workspaces tab within ops that show each workspace for each agent. So right now it would just be a workspace for you. And then it references all the files that you have associated, right? Your soul, your identity, your user, your tools, your agents, memory, heartbeat. When you click those files, you know, this should be like just like the docs, right? Like a quarter, three-quarter split, where the vertical left menu bar shows all the workspaces with all the associated files. And then the right-hand side is a markdown render that allows you to visually see and possibly even edit those files. That wouldn't be a bad idea, but maybe we'll do the edit part 2 and just get the core functionality working first. All right, we're giving it a lot right here, so let's see how it does, shall we? Oh, snap. Hey, thank you. I can't remember if you were the one. Somebody said, how do we pay for a cup of coffee for you? You're doing all this work. Like, so I started a Coffee Crew membership. Listen, I'll never tell you to sign up. I will start doing things for members, but the one thing I really want to stay true to is never paywalling anything here. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Like, you do not have to become a member to get access to anything. I do not want to create that limitation at all. But thank you. I appreciate you. I think creators get like 70% of that, so that's more than enough for a couple of espressos for me. I really do appreciate you. Can never do it. Welcome to the crew. All right, since we're waiting for this, let's do a quick Q&A intermission. Just address the chat, see if there's anything directed towards me. Yeah, and for anybody curious, like during these builds, I really want to focus on the build itself, just vibing. As you can see my process today, we are using some prompts. I will make sure to include those in the description once we update the bio here. But you can also just screenshot the screen when I show the prompts and feed those to your agent as well, okay? Yeah, so cron jobs are just, you know, they're just, it's just, think of it this way. You're like programming a ping, right? You're automatically pinging to do something, and then you specify in that ping what you want it to do. What a little hack that I found is my heartbeats essentially revolve around crons, right? So they just check in on cron jobs to make sure everything's flowing, right? So the heartbeats wake the system up, and depending on the agent that, you know, triggers whatever heartbeat, they might have certain rules attached to their heartbeat, but the core of it is always checking on the crons to make sure if there's a cron failure, why did it fail? Fix it to make sure it proceeds. So my crons essentially never fail on my main OS. But yeah, a little hack that we're also going to go through, I think episode 4 or 5, is creating custom skills for your cron job so that your cron goes from being a big wall of text, right, which costs you more, versus reading a skill, and then in that skill, you have all of the details of your workflow and automation, and then you just specify the frequency in the cron. That's it. Your cron will go from being a bulky thing to a couple lines once you incorporate skills plus crons, which is a hack that not a lot of people are talking about, which I'm shocked by. Hey, I appreciate you. Let's go. And look, dang, I guess this Ninja chat thing shows that it's a membership. It gives you a nice little colorful thing. I gotta actually fix that real time here. Let's unlock that, bring that down so it's not cut off. Nice. Well, hey, I appreciate your support. Thank you for being here. And welcome to the Coffee Crew. All right, so new ops tabs in order. We're gonna have mission control sessions. I think we can honestly combine these two, but I'm just gonna let it do its thing first. I honestly think we can combine all three, if I'm being brutally honest with you. But I just wanna let it make some progress. Activity, PM board, deliverables. I hate this. Sometimes when I'm reading the chat, it'll just start populating. Workspace, docs, always last. Okay, great, yeah. I don't think it needs anything from me, but let's see. Oh no, yeah, as you can see here, I couldn't prompt it if I wanted to. It would be queued if you see that stop button. So we're just letting it work. And if you're impatient like I am, you can watch it apply things and also break real time if you just keep refreshing whatever it's working on. Looks like it has done nothing. Oh, it's actually showing the chat real time. Okay. Oh, look at that. Just populated a whole bunch all at once. All right, we'll be patient. We'll just wait for the ping here. And I should probably get in the habit of closing that menu as well. Keep it nice and clean. Also, I was keeping an eye on Claude's status because earlier today, or no, that was not today. That was a few days ago. Yeah, apparently there was like rumors that Claude was down today, but it's all green lights unless this platform's lying to us, unless this status tracker is lying to us. But I kind of got worried earlier when I saw that Claude was having issues today. But I think people were more just clickbaiting posting of like, oh, they're suing the Department of Defense and now they're down, right? But they're not. it's been working all day, so. All right, let's see. Wow, it built all that pretty quick. 4 new ops tabs, all functional with real data, Kanban style task pipeline, 6 stages. I don't like 6 stages, if I'm being honest with you. I like simple. I'm a simple man. I like to simplify things. But forget it, we'll just leave it. Task cards show client, priority, color coded, great. Overdue tasks get red borders, ooh. Seated with 2 client scenarios, nice. I was gonna ask for demo data. Listen, I normally don't like seeing demo data, but when we're building out new features and we have nothing in the system yet, and it's not doing anything really, aside from building out the skeleton, it's like, I do wanna see what things would look like. So I'm glad it added some demo data. We'll make sure to X that at the end. Client deliverable tracker, sorted by SLA date, expandable rows, workspace, okay. Always last tab. All right, let's go take a look at it, shall we? Like, I'm already thinking off the bat that mission control can have sessions in cron as like these, think of it like a module with their own row that has this kind of accordion title that defaults collapsed, right? So it's nice and clean, and then you press the entire row, and then it essentially shows all of this. I'm kind of thinking that's how I want to do this, instead of having a sessions tab and a cron tab. These are kind of irrelevant. And also crons, we're going to eventually create an automations tab in Brain. That's how I have MuddyOS set up. Yeah, I'm thinking that's some initial changes I want to make, but overall, those are old. So let's go to the new ones. Activity feed, PM board. Ooh, this looks nice. But this is why I hate too many rows. It's like, I don't want to have to scroll. I'd rather just have 4 simple: to do, in progress, on hold, done. And then maybe an archive below. But I love the initial look. I mean, I'm going to keep it. Let's see. Can we drag and drop? Ooh, we can't. So that's another feature to add in. Okay. I get the approach, right? This is from the perspective of like discovery calls. Yeah, I don't know about that. Deliverables. Okay. I feel like if anything, deliverables should live, like we should be able to click these modules and deliverables should live in there, no? I feel like that would be a nice cleaner setup. Oh, look at that. Nice, nice. Workspace. I mean, we only have one workspace, so we can't really test this right now. But I'm guessing it would be like you click this and it drops down and allows you to select whatever agent workspace you want to view. Okay. Okay. Documentation section. I have a feeling we're going to do a lot of work on that. I doubt it's going to nail it. I noticed on MuddyOS, like the docs required a lot of work to actually get it to properly sync at the end of each day. But hey, we're building this together. I mean, based off of my initial thoughts on what I should consolidate here, right? Consolidate sessions into mission control, consolidate cron, even activity, right, into mission control. These 3 tabs are kind of redundant if you think about it, right? They should live in mission control. Then we should have a team. I don't know what happened to our org chart. I know we built one out. Where did it place it? It should be mission control, team, or org, then PM board. I think deliverables can honestly live in PM board. Workspace, I like it having its own. Yeah, so you can, one little trick is I don't do it every week anymore, but once I start to notice my usage go up per prompt or per session, right, per just going back and forth, I essentially trim my memory files. Anything redundant, anything that I created a skill for, I pull out, but I don't just remove that information, I archive it so that should we want to search through past memory, we have that option. But with each call, it doesn't reference that stored, right? That archived memory. So that's my approach. I personally don't. I have a test account, a demo account, Claude Max. I have one for client work, one for my day-to-day, and then one for this channel just to demo stuff and test things. But now that Muddy OS is operational, I use API as well. I think I go through like less than 100 a day there. Way cheaper than hiring the amount of people that that you would have to hire for all the roles that are being, filled. Hey, listen, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. If you're so worried about cost, maybe this setup isn't for you. Maybe this approach isn't for you, right? I'm seeing a lot of just fear around cost. A lot of how much is this costing you? Listen, if you're worried about cost that much, maybe this setup's not for you. And that's okay. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I can dedicate an entire video on it. That's a Muddy OS thing, right? And I think we can, we won't have enough context on this demo, on this bootcamp to do that. I don't think we'll need to, but yeah. So, there's plenty of demos around how to do this. So I recommend go and look, right? It's very clear how to do this. I'm not going to walk through the process right now. I told everyone to come prepared for this bootcamp, so I really want to focus on the build. But there are plenty of videos out there that show you how to do it. That's so expensive. I can tell you're being sarcastic, Derek. All right, so all right, not a bad first run. Now, off the top of my head here, mission control, sessions, and cron and activity. I feel like sessions, cron, and activity are redundant. They don't need their own tabs. I feel like those can live within mission control because in a way we already have sessions displayed, crons displayed, and activity displayed in mission control. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to analyze the code base of each of these tabs. I want you to merge sessions, cron, and activity within mission control. But then for sessions in particular, I think that the section on mission control should turn into an accordion module, so to speak, that is full width, that is initially collapsed. And then once you click on that row, it pulls all that data down and shows these sessions as is with the session explorer. I really like that feature. But then, in the ops dashboard itself, when you just click the ops module, I think that's a place to show maybe those session tile cards instead, right? And look, we already have a cron jobs row in mission control, so you can co-locate the cron tab there. Activity, I think we should put that at the footer of mission control. And then PM board. I'd like to simplify this. I think we only need 4 rows. I think we only need 4 rows. We do to do, in progress, on hold, and then done. And then we will have an archive feature down the road, but I think 4 rows is ideal for this. And then each module should be drag and drop from, row to row. Right now I can't drag and drop anything. As well, each module, you should be able to click and have a pop-up module feature, right? That shows the deliverables of that task. So we can essentially consolidate that deliverables tab within that pop-up module instead. So we're marrying the PM board and the deliverables together, right? I feel like this is just too many tabs when we can organize things a little bit better to be more efficient. And I think that was all the notes I had. Also, what happened to our org chart? We had an org chart tab or a team tab. It disappeared. I want you to look into the code base, see what happened. And I think that Goat OS should be mission control, team, PM board, workspace, docs, right? Those are the main tabs after you make all those changes. And then please do also, with all these changes you're making within the ops module, with all of these features, make sure to just do a quick glance at the dashboard view for the ops module and see what you can do to optimize that as well. I know we already talked about moving those session tiles as a preview in that section. Be thorough, be methodical, take your time. You get what you pay for. I liken it. Took my kids bowling and it was $25 an hour per kid. 4 kids went. That's 100. How much does Cloud Code cost me per hour if I were to break down? It's worth it. Don't you have 7 though? I guess not all 7 can bowl. I'm gonna take a wild guess, right? And I'm shocked that certain bowling centers don't have free under a certain age or 50% off under a certain age. I don't know where this question's coming from. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could always just ask it too. That's another solution, is set it up with whatever model works and then ask it. Because technically your Openclaw agent is not going to start talking with you unless you have a model configured. So that's almost right. That's almost right. Right, Slinger? And here's another perspective. Listen, I don't know, like my generation was different than this generation. I don't know the age groups of everybody tuning in, but I'm guessing you eat out every month. I'm guessing you go to the bar to have a few drinks with friends. I'm guessing you might play a couple rounds of golf a month, especially with this time change. Use your brain, like compare the $200 a month versus eating out 10 times a month, right? 10 times a month at $20 a meal. You could just be Cloud Code Max, test that out for a month, see if it works for you, right? I love it. Great comparison, Derek. It's like, I just see too much concern about cost when I think people's priorities are out of whack here. They're just, you're prioritizing the wrong things, and then you think that this is too expensive to pay $200 a month for. If that's not within your budget, listen, chances are you shouldn't be watching this boot camp. Because that's, listen, I'll never tell you to sign up for a model, but, yeah, and I want to say this as nicely as I possibly can, because I understand people all over the world have different incomes, different expenses, different overhead. So I want to respect that. But at the same time, you get what you pay for here. If you come in with cheap models, with a cheap approach, you're going to get a cheap output. It's just like anything in life. That's a life lesson right there. They gave us free water. That was it. Okay. It was a boys' day. Girl, looks like the boys overpower the girls, huh? 4-3. Nice. I'm sure you guys were rambunctious there at the bowling alley. Did any balls end up in the other lanes when you were bowling? Classic. And looks like it's still building everything out. I did tell it to take its time, but it is for sure taking its time. How common is it to screw something up in your terminal and crash your whole system? Yeah, so this is another reason, listen, I'll never tell you to go with my setup, but this is why I love my setup, is before any update, I go into Muddy, for example, I'll go to my VM, I'll check snapshots. So I always do a pre-patch snapshot. Anything I'm about to do to the terminal or the system itself, I do a pre-patch snapshot. That way, if anything breaks, guess what? I can restore to the working version before whatever happened. I'm just a big advocate for virtual machines and snapshots. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, org chart is fully intact, just orphaned from the module registry. When we sync staging, it's a solid component with the full agent hierarchy. Now let me look. All right, I'd love to hear it. Listen, Derek, I might have to draw some inspiration from you. I've been watching The Office recently. Just as I cook, just ran, just kind of like on to the left as I'm doing my thing day to day. And I'm kind of thinking I should build my team like The Office. As much as I love Michael Scott, I don't know who Michael Scott would be in the GOAT OS. But I know I want Jim and Pam because I love that story, that love connection. That had me going for seasons. Jim sales, Pam reception, right? Maybe Pam's my executive assistant. But then I got GOAT. Hold on, I got to think about this. I would love to build this team with you, the audience. So if anyone has any suggestions on what to name our team, I'm all ears. Let's build this together. Let's have some fun while we do it. Yeah, and here's another thing as well. Hey, this is actually a solid workaround here. I personally have a separate OC instance that I can help troubleshoot with, but I love this approach. Thank you for that input. Another thing you can also do if you're worried about token usage, build whatever feature you want to build in the CLI, whether you're using Gemini, AI Ultra, right? Gemini CLI, or maybe just a Pro, Claude Code CLI, Codex, you get the picture. And then you just paste in that project directory into your OC setup and incorporate that build into your setup. It does save you some tokens for sure. I got everything you need. Can send DM to Discord, literally broken down by character. I know you do. So Derek over here, he downloaded every transcript from every Office episode to build out this team of Office agents. There's Dwight, who has a personality just like Dwight. I'm thinking about it. Let's curb that for a second. Futurama characters. I wish... I don't know the names off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. I went through a phase of watching that, but I think it was more of like, I just wasn't attentive. I'm having a brain fart right now. It's gonna like smack me in my head as soon as you list off some Futurama names. Office is funny. I was thinking of making mine the Golden Girls, but settled on Greek gods. Okay, nice. The Office might be a winner here. Michael Scott can give the morning briefs. Okay. The other thing I do when I want to build a new feature, I use Codex attached to my Openclaw folder and ask it for a plan. Give it to me in an MD file. Ooh, look at this. PGE. I'm trying to figure out what to call you. Thank you, PGE. This is great insight. This definitely does help with token usage as well, taking this approach. That's brilliant. I need to do more of this if I'm being honest with you. But I work out of the CLI every day, right? I have certain projects for clients that I work on strictly out of Cursor or Visual Studio Code. It never touches my OC agent because my OC agent is for ClearMud and ClearMud operations, right? And content creation. A Ron Swanson agent. Peter, okay, nice. Well, hey, thank you, Peter. Thank you I love the comments. They're very valuable. So thank you. And I won't forget that now. With PGE, I keep wanting to say PGA, and I just want to go hit a round of golf right now. You just make me want to get out there and hit 18 holes. My main agent is Solomon, chief operating officer, and my chief content officer is Paul. For real. Nice. Scooby-Doo crew. Hey, I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan from my childhood, for sure. All right. That Ron Swanson, though, that's hilarious. All right, I think we might have to go with Office, but let's see. All right. Looks like it is done. So let's go review all these changes so we can move on to the next module here. Excuse me. It's good it didn't have to rebuild that. Mission control team, PM board, workspace docs. Excuse me. Damn. Looks good. Looks good. Okay. I have no questions there. Let's do a hard refresh. Ooh, look at this ops dashboard. That's way cleaner. I love how I don't have to scroll. I think that should also be a rule of thumb. I think also a rule of thumb. Listen, I'm going to go through all of your changes right now, GOAT, but you are the GOAT. When I click ops, everything's condensed to where I don't have to scroll. I think that should be a rule of thumb for each dashboard within each module, right? It should be a summary of all of the features, right? So we should never have to scroll unless, for example, there's an accordion drop-down option. But I love the idea of, you know, when you click on a module, that dashboard should never force you to scroll. You should be able to see an entire overview of what that module is about. Let's make that a rule of thumb moving forward. Okay. It's probably going to go and change things in brain and lab right now, but that's all right. Let's go to team. All right. We're going to work on this a little bit today. This was the original layout from last week. Yeah, it's a little too bland for me, but we'll work on that. Let's see. Okay. 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 So first impressions with the dashboard. Listen, I have no comments. Everything looks great. You did a good job on ops. For team, you know, this is a layout from last week, so I do want to improve it. I'm going to come back to you with some team names here shortly. The PM board, I'm loving it. It's very much improved now. I think one thing to do, shoot, it looks like you're working, aren't you? Yeah. I'm going to erase that last line. One thing to do is, and then I'm going to continue talking from that point. Like it's literally doing work, so it keeps resetting my view. So I will come back to that in a moment. And drink a million brews while you're at it. Yeah, listen, if that's what you do, by all means, drink responsibly. It's been almost 3 years for me with nothing. It's great. But that's just a personal thing of mine. All right. We'll run through it one more time as soon as it's done. And you're also going to notice, like, one thing I'm doing right now is I'm just telling it, create a rule of thumb, do this. No, it's all good. No reason to apologize. Listen, it's not like that for me anymore. It was definitely tough at first, but it's just, well, I don't even think about it. I don't get tempted when I smell beer, when I smell anything, nothing. It's just a choice I had to make for me. Something I had been thinking about since 2014. It just took me 9 years to take action on you know, going sober. So just something I did for me. That's all. All right, let's wait for this to finish because now I can't like review each tab until this is done. Yes, we're going to touch on this next week when we actually set up and wire the multi-agent team together. So we're mainly focused on just building out features this week in each module. And then we're going to slightly wire things together. But then the multi-agent team, I want that to be dedicated with an entire episode. We might even go 3 hours next week. But that deserves its own episode, its own focus to make sure everything's wired. And then more importantly, for us to test it. It's not going to be a one-shot. It's probably not going to work the way we think it's going to work on the first prompt, but I guarantee you by the end of next week's episode, your multi-agent team will be wired. It will be synchronized. It will be pulling from the same data. There will be no stale data. The PM board is going to be the single source of truth for anything they discuss and add, action items for. Yeah, so that's all next week. We recently created 3 OCs, each named after an office character. We popped them in a Discord chat and let them talk to each other. They immediately start sprouting office specs and became their characters. Let's go. Have you thought of downloading the transcript for each episode throughout, I think it's 9 seasons? All right. Yeah, as I thought, right? I told it to do that and it went ahead and changed brain and lab dashboards. So just do a hard refresh here. And where was I in my prompt? Very much improved. We're on the PM board. Is to, when you drag a module from row to row, I think that we should have the option to organize it above or below a card. So as I'm dragging a box over, right, there should be an indicator of where it's going to be placed in that next column, right? And if I kind of hold it below a module, it should indicate that it's going to be placed below that module. And then the same goes for above it, right? Additionally, when I'm clicking these modules, I love this first view. I think we should have like a full screen option or semi full screen, right? We should, keep some nice spacing on the sides and the top. But the client deliverables, right? I can't expand those fields down. I feel like within this pop-up module, right, we might have some functionality within each card. So let me know if you have any questions on that. I think also, when it comes to priority, I see you have some high, medium, and low labels. I think we should be able to just toggle that before you pop up that module and just switch. We should incorporate a couple of options to where we can quick toggle certain features within each module, or certain characteristics, or certain deliverables, or certain tags, so to speak. Otherwise, it looks good. I have no other notes. And then let's go look at the brain. Nice and consolidated, great. The lab, nice and consolidated, great. Solid. Yeah, I have no notes. I have no other notes. Yeah, we're going to get to building out the brain and the lab here in a moment. But yeah, I could get specific, but I want you to get creative based off of our front end design skill and everything we've discussed. I want you to take a version 2 attempt at the org chart. All right. Nice big change coming. Yeah, so I actually get a good amount of mileage, but I don't use it as my primary. I do have the $20 a month plan, but that's specifically for backend and security audits on Muddy OS. And it's been solid. I've never reached anywhere near any limitations. Now, if it were to be my primary agent, as I started off this bootcamp, I do want to, off air, I don't know if I'll do this on a live stream, but I want to set up a new OC instance where 5.4 is my primary agent. I want to see if its personality has truly improved, like I see a lot of people talking about. Because if that's the case, depending on its speed, right? And the fact that they openly are allowing OC setups to utilize their subs, like that, they're going to win the game there over Opus if it's truly like that level up on personality. I see quote unquote. I'm confused here. Was that an accident? Are you asking me this? I can't tell if you're referencing something or if that's actually you typing. I'm using Whisperflow. If you look in the bio of this description, you'll see a link right there. We both get a free month. Listen, this is not a paid advertisement. It's just a tool that I love to use. So I always put it at the top of my live streams. until, of course, pretty much any video I use the tool, I use voice to text, I incorporate that link. If you dictate 2,000 words, we both get a month of Pro for free. And I don't think you even have to attach a credit card. You can just start using it. So it's a great tool. I love it. All right. So let's see. We've made a lot of progress here. Done. Ooh, we actually forgot the stand up and meeting view. We need to build that out. And then we'll move on to the brain module. It's interesting how that prompt didn't have that. Yeah, one other thing to add to your list. This is thinking ahead, right? We're going to wire everything in next week. But for the org chart, oh, this looks ugly, man. I do not like your version 2, by the way. I do not like your version 2. I want to take it back to a traditional style where you have me, Marcelo, the human, the CEO up top. Yeah, this looks just ugly. I do not like it. Fix it. It should look like an organizational chart. Okay. Nice try. Listen, A for effort, but yeah, you failed. And then on top of that, so I'd like to also build out a new tab. We're going to call this stand-ups. Think of it like this. Our agents that we build out with their own workspaces, it's going to be a place for us to visualize all of their daily meetings that they're going to host on their own. So I'd like to see a weekly calendar view and a monthly calendar view of this. But it's essentially a round table, right? Where they all come in and discuss a particular task. They're going to start, doing these daily executive syncs where they analyze anything in the PM board, right? The PM board is going to be the single source of truth when they're seeing if anything's backlogged, whatever is in to do, any ideas that they have for the system or for clients, everything goes in there, right? But we want a stand-up tab so that we can visualize and play back these meetings. Again, we're not going to wire things in on the back end until next week, but I'd at least like the skeleton built out today. Hey, right there with you. For me, August 23. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's just, there's like no urge for me at all. No urge. My one promise to myself is whenever I feel like I can have a glass of wine without it exceeding that, then I might revisit it. But listen, that's probably decades down the road, if ever, Yeah. So we're going to do the skills skeleton today. Next week is the multi-agent team setup. Then episode 4, I believe, I structured it in a way where, let's go check. Yeah. Episode 4 is workflow automations and skills. You're going to notice throughout this bootcamp, I'm just telling it, here's a rule of thumb. Here's how our crons should operate, right? It's learning from how I want things to work. Well, when episode 4 comes around, what we're going to do is accumulate all of that memory, all of that context into skills. And then we're going to be cleaning up the memory. We're going to be cleaning up the cron jobs. And they're going to be referencing a skill MD per workflow, per automation, per overnight build, for example. Big part of my life was music festivals. I mean, I also in my college town, we used to go to festivals out in the middle of nowhere that were organized by people that would bring out just all the sound equipment. So of course it was illegal to do, right? Yes, sometimes cops would come and shut down the parties, but yeah, it was before EDC was became EDC is when I was going through that phase of music festivals and just festivals in the forest and stuff like that. All right, let's go see where we're at here. Oh, device identity required. Why are you doing this? What happened there? Let me go grab that ID. Interesting find. Why did it just do that? All right, it's back connected. Yeah, anytime you see that issue, device identity required, just go into your overview, check that the gateway token's in there, connect. I'm curious as to why that just undid itself, but as you can see, our agent is still working. So that was just more of an issue between my host PC and the VM. In what way? Let me try to help you today, because we honestly had it running off of week 1, right? As you saw at the beginning of this live stream, like it overnight, even though the front end server was dead, it kept building things 8 nights in a row. Like it built out a feature. So I'm curious as to like what issue you're running into. Maybe it's something very specific to you and your use case and industry. But I'd love to try to be more helpful at the end of this episode. Fair enough. The horizontal layout was a miss. Let me fix both. Now the stand-up tabs wired in. Okay. New tab skeleton, weekly and monthly calendar view for agent stand-up meetings. 7-column grid with date headers. Detail module. I love it. All right, let's go take a look. Ooh, look at that. It gave us some placeholders, which is great, right? We didn't actually run any executive syncs. So I'm going to make sure, right, at the end of this, right, we shouldn't have to drag it, right? Because this is not something you drag and drop. This is great. I love it. This is wonderful. We're going to have to expand on this as well. But this is a great start, great skeleton. Loving the look. Okay. Let's go back to team. Okay. Yeah, okay. Listen, the only note I have for the team is I think that these modules can be more rectangular than square. The square takes up too much real estate on the team. I think finding a unique way to add the avatar on the left, right? Color indicator active on the left, maybe top or bottom, and then name, title, and description off to the right, right? Aligned to the right of the avatar or the icon placeholder. I think that would clean up the org chart quite a bit. Additionally, for the org chart, let's go ahead and name the team right now. So I like Marcelo, I like Goat, but I think I want to go with an office themed team. So we're going to do a Michael Scott. We're going to do a Jim Halpert. We're going to do a Dwight K. Schrute. And then we're going to do a Pam Beasley. I like that approach. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's go. Hey, that's going to be our dream team right there. Look at that. It already knew. He'd run media, talks too much, perfect fit. Jim Halpert, dev chief. I don't know about that. Dwight K. Schrute, ops, ruthless execution. Okay, listen, I'm letting it decide. We'll fine tune this next week when we actually build out the multi-agent team, right? This is more of skeleton this week. Oh, that's hilarious. I got my haircut from a place who hires recovering addicts. They do a lot with schools, etc. Cool vibe, good cause. We're listening to the band called Goose, which said it's a non-weird fish. Good stuff. Hey, love that. Build a task manager skill to put skills into the brain. Obsidian Vault. Okay, so your brain is in Obsidian Vault. Is this what I'm understanding? But even when told to load up the skill knowledge, it creates them manually instead of using the skill. Interesting. Hey, come back at me at the end of this episode and we'll dig into this a little bit more. I really want to focus on this build because I know we've kind of had a slow start here. So we're going to execute this brain module with all the features, the lab module with all the features, and then we'll get into the Q&A at the end. But I'd love to expand on that. But again, episode 4, we're going to be digging into skills quite a bit there. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I don't think everybody needs this, right? The reason I'm doing this bootcamp is there was enough interest in that one video about Muddy OS where people just wanted the code. They wanted to know how it was built. So I thought, let's build one from scratch that's almost identical, right? With you know, some changes to how it looks based off of my experience of building Muddy OS. So listen, I don't think everyone needs this. If I'm being brutally honest with you, not everybody needs this. I'm planning ahead to keep ClearMud a one-man show for as long as I possibly can. So I built Muddy and ClearMud OS to help me with day-to-day operations as well as content creation. And the amount of time, you know, that I've spent building them, yes, it was a lot. But now my days are so light, I can focus on the things I want to focus on, which is just a wonderful feeling to know that, you know, I got it working to a point where all of those tedious, repeatable tasks that I used to spend hours a day doing, I now have automated between my two OSs. But listen, not everybody needs this, right? You have to analyze, like, do you need this? I'm not going to tell you you need this, right? That's for you to decide. That's not for me to decide for you. I'm not going to try to create FOMO and fear and say you're missing out and all this if you don't have this. But I think the fact that you're here learning and watching, I think you're one step ahead of the rest. Yeah, right here. I mean, Binary mentioned it right there. It's automation, and chances are most people don't need this type of automation. But the more you work with it, the more you realize what you can automate and what time you can free up. Like, a lot of people ask me, what's the ROI on these tools? I didn't build these tools to make me money. I built these tools to make more time, to free up my time. That's the ROI that I measure right now. Now, I do have some plans to create a separate OS that's gonna make me money. But that's not my goal. That's not my primary goal. You can see that with the fact that I don't sell courses here. I don't paywall content, right? I don't drive you to $100 a month or whatever dollars a month. That's not my focus. So listen, I mean, understand your priorities and understand what you need and build what you need. Don't build something you don't need. All right, office theme is elite. Let me map the characters to the roles. Yeah, we already talked about that. Cards are now, we'll review that in a second. Goat is the only thing that's kind of missing here, right? But listen, I like how he's called Goat, so let's work with it, shall we? Okay, we can improve, but I love the base layout. This looks good. This looks like a good skeleton to start with. I love it. We're gonna add model pill tags, like filter pill tags that show which model is being run by which agent. But we're gonna have a total of 5 agent workspaces starting next week, all right? I love it. What is my time worth? That's a good question. If you're thinking from the perspective of a consultant, it's a couple hundred an hour. But if you're thinking from the perspective of like, I want to get deep with answering that. But I couldn't. I know, it's ridiculous. What's up, Fish? Welcome back. Fish died. Yeah, I wanna be more thoughtful about answering this, and I'll think about it throughout the rest of this episode. But listen, if I can free up a few hours a day and I really want to apply myself, I can go make, if I free up 4 hours a day, I'll make an extra 1,000 that day, right? That's how I look at it. But you know, it's really dependent on you and your skill sets and how you value your time, right? Some people enjoy those tedious, repeatable tasks. If you enjoy it, by all means, listen, I love cooking. Sure, I should probably hire somebody with how much I can make per hour, but I don't care about that. I'd rather cook than work. So for me, I enjoy to cook. I don't care what happens in my life. I will always, 9 times out of 10, cook my meals because I enjoy it. It's something I love to do, right? Maybe you love those tedious, repeatable tasks. One thing I don't like to do is clean my house, which I still do on occasion. But over here in Portugal, it's much cheaper to hire cleaners than it is in the United States. All right, let's get back to building here because we got sidetracked with Q&A. So I'm gonna curb comments until probably the end. Are you talking about my Muddy OS and Clear Mud OS? That's for another episode. This bootcamp is specifically for Goat OS, right? Come join me on Monday and Friday live streams and we can talk more about my other systems that I use on a daily basis. All right. Let's go to Brain. Let's start building out Brain. Built out that. We already have a memory viewer. We already have a morning briefs page. Skills directory, that's going to be a fun one. Automations overview showing, okay, that's one thing that's redundant. All right, we're at a good stopping point for the ops module. Let's move over to the Brain module. We already have a morning briefs page. We already have a memory viewer, which is great. I'd like to build out a skills directory viewer. It should show all installed skills. So it should first pull all of the available plugins from Openclaw. And have filter pill tag options to distinguish whether or not it's a plugin versus a skill that we create and write, right? Their descriptions, which agents use them, and the source, built-in versus custom, right? We're building out this skeleton that we're going to improve on and create custom skills for all of our workflows on episode 4, right? We're only in episode 2, so let's build the skeleton, add some demo data. Actually, don't add any demo data. The data from the built-in Openclaw plugins should be good enough to populate that directory. And then I want an automations tab. One thing I forgot to mention with the ops module, in mission control, we have these cron jobs, this cron job session. I want that to live in the Brain under automations. And I want it, right? I still want, obviously, the cron job health checker in the ops dashboard. So maybe you just leave mission control as is, but what I'd like to see in the automations tab on Brain is a visual representation of all of our cron jobs in a table format that have accordion modules for each row that by default is collapsed, but you can essentially break down that information and see all of the details for all the crons, what model is being triggered by what cron, et cetera, et cetera. Let me know if you have any questions. And let's build that out. All right, great. Nice. Yeah, and that's like, you start to learn things that you can automate with Openclaw. Like, I'll be honest, when I first started playing with Openclaw, it was before this like wave of attention, and I installed it, but I installed it on my root Mac. I didn't like how it wanted access to everything. It was like it detoured me from even setting it up initially. And then I finally got around to making a VM for it, and I was treating it more like a chatbot for the first week or two. And I was like, that's cool. And then I started to like slowly like think of like, wait, can I do this? Let me test. Can I do that? Let me test. And like week by week, day by day of using it, I did have an aha moment of like all of these different CLI apps and workflows that I built that primarily I would have, you know, a Claude code, excuse me, a Claude terminal, right? Spin up /command. It would run, you know, YouTube scripts, for example, and then I would view that in Obsidian. I had that workflow for a while. Once I realized like I can combine everything and automate a lot of this, that's when the true unlock happened. And I must have stayed up, I mean, 5, 6 a.m. for 10 days straight. My sleep schedule is still not the same as it was. But you have to go through that aha moment yourself with this, right? I don't think this is for everybody, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I think it's an awesome toy if you want to build a fun toy and have a cool experience, but the unlock only happens the more time you spend working with it and building in it. Sorry, I missed you, Slinger. I know I mentioned I want to focus on building out the rest here because we are coming up on 2 hours. So I think, you know, another 30 minutes to finish the build, and then we can go into Q&A. Yeah, right there. right there. And it's all discovering this as you go, right? Like, everyone's got to figure it out for themselves. I don't think you're going to get the answer you're looking for in any YouTube video. You can learn, right, better about how OC operates with YouTube content and videos, but when it comes to actually building something that saves you time and makes you money, you have to go through that yourself, right? I'm never going to, listen, I've never packaged one of my videos saying, this OC setup makes me X amount in my sleep. Because I don't want to bullshit you, and I don't, oh, excuse my language, I got to watch the cussing. And I don't want to clickbait you. Listen, I'm not creating content that clickbaits you. I create content that educates you and shows off what I built because I was just excited to share what I built, right? Like, I will never try to mislead you or clickbait you here. That's one promise I have, in addition to never selling you a course. Mine was not too healthy. It's nice. Are you talking about sleep schedule? I'm with you. Listen, everything in moderation. Life's about balance. Sometimes you have to be imbalanced to rebalance things out, you know? Sometimes you gotta go and have those sleepless nights to understand how powerful it is to have a consistent sleep schedule. Whew, that's wild. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you? The older you get, the more difficult it becomes. I promise you that. I used to consistently do that. My sweet spot is 7 hours a night. I can easily operate off of 6, no problem. I have certain days of the week now I don't set an alarm. I make sure that I just let my body sleep as long as it needs to sleep. Yeah, it's doing a lot of work right now, so we can keep answering some questions. What do you mean? To set up Openclaw, you need a working model, right? Whether you use Claude, whether you use Gemini, whatever you use, you have to use a model, yes, or a local model. I solved it by, I need to do a video on this because I'm seeing this becoming a repeatable question, but I solved this in 2 ways. I have a weekly kind of trim. Well, I guess it's bi-weekly now, where anything I turn into a cron, rather a skill that turns into a cron that was once in the memory, I have it trim the main memory files that get accessed with every prompt, right? I think a lot of it's about summarizing your memory. I know there's QMD approach. I haven't tested those approaches yet, right? Let me finish the question though. But it's, you know, first figure out what repeatable tasks you have that can be replaced by skills plus crons, right? That's step 1. Then build those out based off of your memory. Then go in and trim your memory of any redundant information, but don't delete it permanently. Talk to your agent and say you would like to have like an archived memory directory or workspace that you only reference when you mention like, hey, I want you to dig through all of our memory to find, like if there's ever a discrepancy, then it goes and calls those markdown files, but it doesn't operate off of them day to day, hour by hour, prompt by prompt, et cetera, et cetera. That has been a huge help for me personally. And it wasn't perfect at first. When I first did that memory trim, my system was significantly dumber. I had to kind of go back and forth to make sure I understood what happened and why it got dumber. Oh, damn. Dude, I tip my hat off to you. 3 hours past couple days. Listen, I think I can go through like spurts of that, but man, yeah, that's kudos to you. What's up, Pepe? Listen, I run right now, this entire system that you see here is an M1 max. I think it's 32 gigs max. I have 2 cores, or no, I have 4 cores for Muddy plus 12 gigs of RAM. And then I have 2 cores for Goat plus 6 gigs of RAM. Everything works flawlessly with my setup. Everything's great. Sure, I had some growing pains of like initially only starting with 1 core and 4 gigs of memory, or I think it was even 2 gigs of memory. And then I was running into out of I keep wanting to say out of mana from my World of Warcraft days, out of memory errors that would occur. But now I don't run into any errors anymore. And that's more than enough for me. Now, I would like to upgrade, don't get me wrong, but I'm bootstrapping this brand, trying to keep costs as low as possible. You know, I'm trying to build that war chest first as I grow, and not just spend the cash blindly. So I do plan on upgrading at some point, but I think, you know, I think it doesn't hurt to try with what you have. I think it'll work based off of those specs. I think that'll be just fine. Yeah, to answer your question, yes, I do. I also do Google Drive now as well for Muddy. Yeah, so this is a combo I'm looking into. I haven't personally had enough time to test it thoroughly, but I will be dropping a video on this at some point. I've been hearing a lot of good things here. Nice. Brilliant. Brilliant. All right, let's go into the brain, check everything out. Do a hard refresh. Go to brain. Nice, nice. So we have skills. Okay, I don't like how it looks out the gate. I like how this looks out the gate. This is great. All right, so first impressions with the skills tab, or skills feature rather. I think by default, this should be rows of maybe 4 cards per, 4 cards per row or 4 columns, however you want to structure it. I don't like the table view for the skills. I would rather have it look like I'm looking at ID badges on screen. And I think you can easily fit 4 across each row and then just go down from there. For the automations, great first approach. I love how I can see all the information here. How difficult would it be to allow me to edit the cron itself inline, right? So when I click that drop down in the table, can I edit that payload message myself, or is it best just to prompt you to do that? And then additionally, I think before you expand a row, we should see what model's being utilized. And there's a clear disconnect here. We'll go into wiring in a moment, but last run, I mean, it did run last night according to our daily briefs in our memory and our lab. Make sure that's wired up together. That status error should be resolved as well. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll move on to lab shortly after this. Excuse me. Man. I'd recommend prompting me rather than inline editing. Here's why. The cron payloads are complex. I mean, we're going to fix that with skills, but an inline text field invites typos and broken formatting. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. This is why also sometimes it's the nice to have can cause more problems. So it's best just to ask your agent what it thinks. And I'm with that. And since we're waiting for this, I will hit up some comments real quick. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's one rule of thumb I had to learn with Muddy OS. I went through like mid-weeks where I'd have an idea and then I'd break something in the middle of a day I'm supposed to be productive. I learned that lesson quick. That's why I deployed what I call an Infra Saturday, which has now become Infra Fridays because I've kind of condensed my week. I only focus on back-end major overhauls one day out of the week where I don't need to be productive, right? Which is generally Saturday or Sunday, but I kind of like Fridays now. Wow days, love it. Yep. What free models? I don't have much knowledge in this. I know people are getting away with the Gemini free model, but you get a few prompts and you're done. I don't have much information for you here, Joel. Sorry. I use a mix. For this demo, we're using Opus 4.6. Okay. I'll let you know once I start testing that a little bit more. Yeah, of course. Listen, I'm an advocate for starting lean. I'll never try to tell you to go buy something you don't need to buy. I think most of us can accomplish what we need to accomplish with something we have in our household already. So go use what you have first and then figure out its limitations and then justify the expense. Now, everyone's situation is different. Maybe you have money to throw at new hardware. By all means, do that. You know what I mean? But I'm a big advocate for starting lean and starting with as little as possible, validating the need for more before you go and spend that money or upgrade. That's just my approach, right? And my preference with everything. I just built a budgeting app. How baseboard it for base 44. Did you get that? Can I do a stream doing the back end overhaul? What do you mean exactly? Are you talking about the wiring for this? Oh, and it looks like we got our first compacting midstream. Interesting. Interesting. We're about to find out. Good feedback. I'm glad it came at the end of its tasks here. So let's go take a look at its changes in brain. Ooh, I like how this looks so much better. Let's go. Let's go. This looks great. This feels redundant, right? Sources built in custom. I mean, all plugin skills. I guess I get why it was doing that, but these three options are kind of redundant, if I'm being honest. Oh, I see what you mean. The problem with there's a big problem with that is as you know, with my live streams, I like to reference my systems a lot. I work out of them a lot. So for me to do the back end overhaul during a live stream, I probably wouldn't. What I'd probably do there, I think at some point, Derek even brought this up in the community. He's like, doing just a working in silent Saturday live stream. I think I'd rather just do that in the Discord. Go into the lounge, share my screen, and work in silence throughout the day, right? There's no Q&A in there, right? I would definitely mute my mic, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it, but Dark Ice, I'm not going to rush into that because I have to think about what I would do, right? I would have to think ahead about what the overhaul is going to be, right? And I also have to be thoughtful about making sure I don't expose any private information, private keys, et cetera, et cetera. That's why, like with Infra Saturdays, listen, I'm logged off. I'm offline. It's for me, right? So when I turn that into a live stream, like then that changes the whole dynamic of Infra Saturday, right? So I'm not opposed to it, and I'm not saying no, but I'm not going to rush into doing that and commit to doing that because Infra Saturdays are meant for me to disconnect, right? Chill without a shirt on, playing loud ass music, drinking espresso all day, cooking food all day. That's why, like, that mindset for those days for me is way different than being here in front of a camera. So, but I'm loving the skills skeleton. This looks great. It gives us all the built-in for Openclaw. Wonderful. Yeah, I think one other thing to incorporate into the skills directory, like the plugins provided from Openclaw, there should be an indicator if we have any of them enabled and how they're utilized, right? That way it's like a single source of truth for me to come in and see what plugins are being utilized by what processes and what automations. Otherwise, looks good. It looks like the automations tab in Brain, you didn't add the model that's being utilized per automation, right? As we build this system out, we're going to incorporate a codex, right? API, or rather an open API. We're going to incorporate a Gemini API as well. So when we start using different models and assigning different automations, different models, I would like a pill tag filter option on that line. Oh, wait, here I am thinking, listen, I'm going to give you this brain dump, Goat. I see you have a model And I see you just have written default. I think instead of default, it should be labeled accordingly depending on the model. So for Opus 4.6, which is our default, have it say Opus 4.6 and give it like a yellow pill tag color. I think that would be a nice touch. And then for future reference, Gemini is going to be a blue and OpenAI will be a purple. All right, we're almost ready to move on to the laboratory here. I guess we can take a little intermission for comments real quick. I have never once seen somebody ask me the pronunciation with capitalizing these letters this way. This is actually kind of brilliant. It's good to see how your brain works. L-O, L-O. Not O-Lo, not YOLO, L-O. That's great. I've never once been asked that question in that way. That's pretty cool. Yeah, listen, I would recommend having a throwaway subscription for Claude. Like OpenAI has been open that you can use their monthly subscriptions with Openclaw. They allow it. Gemini, I've heard of people using the CLI and getting away with it. So use that at your own risk. But the Google anti-gravity OAuth was definitely banned. Claude, listen, there's rumors. They have not flat out said it. So proceed with caution, right? But I think like only use APIs once you have things dialed in. I think for the build, the initial build, try to always use a sub. Try to always use that workaround to where you're not paying more than your monthly cost. Of course, understand the risks associated with it. Right now, OpenAI is the only one that won't ban you, that has been clear about that. But like, I'm all about starting as lean as possible. So like, you know, certain things are only operating off of API keys now that I have them like flowing and it's cheap. The initial setup and tinkering and troubleshooting, that was all done with subscriptions. So hope that answers it. Are you talking about this one? Are you talking about GOAT? I talk about it at the beginning of the stream. Let's finish the build here. I don't want to be too squirrel brain right here. I want to kind of get through this build and everything on my list, and then we can go and review everything that it built. Hey, that's smart. But the fact you're showing up and you're learning, like, that's great. Kudos to you. Yeah, so I think I'm learning that lesson, right? Time block Q&A, so. But hey, listen, I'm doing something that I don't think anybody's ever attempted before. A completely free bootcamp that's just going to live on YouTube, that's meant to provide value and show you the raw start to finish build. I don't know how many people have attempted this. So I'm learning as I go. So anybody watching this recording getting frustrated with all the Q&A, listen, drop a comment below on what you think I could do to improve, but link me somebody else who's doing this, and I'd love to go learn from them as well. It's been working out like when the agent's working to address the Q&A, but I can see how that could detour some people watching the recording for sure. Ooh, look at that. Active dots. I didn't even ask for that specifically. Love it. Okay. Man, that heater's getting hot. Beautiful. All right, let's go test this. Do a hard refresh, brain. Ooh, love it. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. Interesting. Active 5, plugins, active. what the hell is this weather? I never enabled the damn weather. I never enabled this. Like, what the hell is going on here? Oh, we're going to continue the build and then remove all demo data here momentarily. I mean, it's been a solid session so far. I think we're at a great, and I want to take a moment to shout out somebody in the community. Derek. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being an OG. Thank you for sharing everything in the Discord. He actually inspired me to build out the skills directory to look the way it does. He shared a screenshot of one of his setups and I was like, wow, that skills direct. I think he even calls it a directory. Shout out Derek for inspiring me to visually come up with this. Like, listen, we're all just building stuff based off of everyone else. Like, everyone's input kind of contributes towards builds, right? We draw inspiration from everybody. So I just wanted to give credit where it's due. Derek is a big reason for the way I have this this skills directory laid out. So thank you, Derek. All right. Moving on to lab. Prototypes, build logs. I like the build logs should go last. System pulse, I feel like that should just be in the dashboard of lab, right? Config. Honestly, I feel like the config should be in the brain. No? Yeah. So let's vibe a few things before we give it other things to build. All right, we're at a good stopping point for the brain module. Let's move over to the lab module. So first impression on the dashboard, it looks great, but it's bare. I think that the system pulse could just be co-located into the dashboard as a whole. Obviously, right, we have a rule of thumb making sure you don't have to scroll down in the dashboard, but I think the system pulse tab is kind of redundant. I think we can get clever and find a way to display all that information in the dashboard. So give that a go. For the build logs, that should always be to the far right option. For the config, you know, the more I think about it, the more I realize that this config inspector should be in the brain and not in the lab. And then going back to the brain, I want you to kind of give the dashboard some TLC, some tender love and care with all the changes we made to daily briefs, memory skills, and automations. And then I'm going to have you build out a few new things in laboratory, but go ahead and start with these changes first. Please and thank you. Let's see what else is on the list for today. So we're done with skills. We're done with automations. We're going to do these prototypes. We're going to create a new cron today as well. Okay. Lab module build out. Oh, you know what? We ignored that brain module build out. Wait, why aren't these clickable? The heck? What's going on here? That's number 3, number 2. Interesting. Looks like I need to have Muddy look at this. I can't click on all but 2. That's a bummer. All right, I'll just manually do all this. But rule of thumb is we got to make sure we remove all demo data, have Goat look into the wiring, because the skeleton's great and all, but everything needs to be wired together on the back end. From module to module, from feature to module, et cetera, et cetera. From feature to dashboard within each module, right? Okay, let's wait for it to finish and then we'll build that out, see where it's at. Let me check the current plan. Okay, we're waiting for it to go, so I will address some comments real quick. I do a personal repository because I believe the limit is 2 gigs. And once I hit that limit, I'm just going to rely on my Google Drive backups instead of Git. You know, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I'll think about it. Now, YouTube chat does have a terms of service thing against bots responding and moderating. So listen, I'm not trying to get flagged or banned by YouTube. I've already thought of creating a moderator bot, but I'm going to have to curb that for now. But not a bad idea to do for the Discord. Oh yeah, the GOAT built out a lot. We'll go over it during the Q&A. It actually pre-built a lot of features that we were already going to build, which was really cool. Full refresh with 5 tabs represented. All right, no scroll rule maintained. Okay, let's go take a look, see how this looks. All right, it looks like you used the coloring for config inspector. It looks like it's colored like it's in the lab, but it's in the brain. So just a minor front end tweak. You know, and moving forward, rule of thumb, anytime we move features from module to module, make sure that you update its coloring accordingly. Looking in the laboratory, I love what you've done with the system pulse. This looks very, very clean. The build logs, this looks very clean. So let's spin this off into building out a prototype management page with a portfolio view of all the prototypes you build overnight. Okay, I'm gonna want to, after we're done building out this feature, I wanna schedule another cron that builds us a new micro SaaS product, right? Overnight. And it spins up a demo, it spins up a working prototype, it gives us all the market research as to market fit, what pain point it solves, et cetera, et cetera. Now, before we even come up with that cron though, you're gonna need to use your Opus 4.6 brain to do some deep research into what makes a successful micro SaaS product. We need to make sure that our research methodology is dialed in so that each prototype you spin up overnight is actually valuable and useful, right? So we need that page. The ideas gallery page with idea cards, scoring for pain points, build speed, is it monetizable, AI edge, status tracking, and detailed view for deep dives. And then a research dashboard showing nightly research results, right? So these kind of all tie into one. So I'd like you to let me know what you think is best. Do we build one tab for all of this, or do you want separate tabs? Let me know if you want a bigger brain dump for these features within prototype. But just another rule of thumb, right? The prototype module is to act as if it's like Dexter's laboratory, right? This is where we get creative, we build things. That's why I love that the overnight build logs, the self-improvement logs, the new feature logs, everything lives in prototypes, right? That's where it should be. But that's the purpose of this module. All right, I think that's enough. That's enough. And we're just vibing that in there. So while that's building out, let's just get some questions here real quick. Yeah, Derek is the GOAT. Yeah, I'm going to try to manage it, Dark Ice. I'm going to try to manage it. You know, I'm going to try to be mindful of people watching the recording. No, I'm going to X the weather. I'm going to X the weather. Just said, before I build this, what I need to set up the data layer. Okay, this is great. It really does. Yeah, this GOAT OS stays on. It stayed on all week. So if you go look at the build logs from this past week, look, March 4th, March 5th, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it built a brain analytics. It built a config inspector, which we just moved to the brain. It built a cron manager, an activity feed, a system pulse, a session explorer. We consolidated a lot of these builds because it had a bare system, right? So it was just building what it thought it needed. But in my curriculum for today, I wanted to already build a lot of those modules. So it was really cool to see it think from that perspective of like what's missing. I'm excited to see how this cron runs after we have, like, this week should be interesting, right? Seeing these micro SaaS demos should be interesting. Yeah, so that's what it built over the past week. Some cool features, some cool features. Yeah, it definitely makes more sense. I think try with the GPT $20 a month one and see how the usage goes. I'm not sure how long you've been tuning in for, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about 5.4 having a better personality comparable to Opus 4.6, right? I'm excited to test setting up a fresh OC agent with Codex or with OpenAI's 5.4, right? I'm having a brain fart right now. 5.4. But yeah, I mean, listen, I started with the $20 a month one, and immediately, like within 45 minutes, I would hit 5-hour window usage, right? So first, like go through a few of those and see like how often, how quick, how consistent are you hitting that 5-hour window? And then justify the expense, justify the upgrade, and then test. Like just because you upgrade to a higher model or like a higher paying tier doesn't mean you have to keep it, right? Test it for a month, you know? It's better than eating out 10 meals a month. It's $20 a meal, assuming depending on where you are. Just cook for yourself 10 times out of the month, and you can afford any $200 a month plan. Like, so Openclaw by default, right? If it's on a server, if it has its own system, it is always running 24/7. But you're right, nobody talks about it. False about they already have access to YouTube. Interesting. Yeah, drop it in the Discord. I'll check it out. Hey, thank you, Ken. So next week, I want to get back to the build, but next week is all focused on multi-agent setup, wiring, debugging, testing. Listen, we're not going to one-shot it here. I guarantee you I will not one-shot it. But that's the purpose of doing it live, to show you the process of building that multi-agent team with their own workspaces, wiring everything together, testing it live. Next week is going to be the best week to answer any multi-agent related questions. All right, let's go check these changes real quick. Yeah, I knew the multi-agent team was going to be such a big topic that it's going to require its own day. And listen, I'm not going to restrict it to 2 or 2.5 hours next week. If we need to go 4, we go 4. We go as long as we need to go until we have our multi-agent team wired and communicating how we want it to communicate. That's my promise to you next week. All right, it fixed the color. It didn't fix the inline color. You come on now. Prototypes. Foundry. Foundry? What terminology is this? Is this like some Game of Thrones terminology? Dang. All right, so we have a nightly research cron for our OS, right? Are you referencing a new cron that you want to build? Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on that. I want to do that right now, and I want to actually execute it now so we have a preview of what it's going to look like. And then I also want you to take this moment after the cron to go back through all of the work we've done today, remove any demo data, right? I don't know why you have this weather skill enabled, plugin enabled. I never enabled that. So explain yourself. Why do you keep wanting to tell the weather? Any placeholders anywhere. If it's not real data, remove it. So that goes for the ops PM board as well, right? Let me know if you have any questions related to that. Also, I want you to double check each module, each feature, clean up the code base. I know we moved some things around, so make sure the code base is sound, right, on the back end. I'm a bit of an OCD, so I don't want to see a feature in the brain module appear in the ops module on the back end, right? Just because you moved it on the front end. I want you to methodically go through the code base, and then more importantly, make sure all of them are wired together. All right, solid changes there. Yeah, we're coming up on the end of this one. Yeah, so I have a deep dive planned for Muddy OS, where we break down the wiring involved with the team and all the sub-agents. And then I'm going to essentially have Muddy create master prompts that hopefully, listen, it's not going to one-shot it. Nothing's ever going to be one-shot. But I'm going to have my agent prepare a master prompt that anybody can copy paste into their OC setup to try to recreate certain parts of Muddy OS in the way I have things configured. However, Muddy OS evolves week to week. I think I'm almost at a point where I'm happy with it in general to where I can make that video, but I've been putting that video on hold because primarily this bootcamp is taking a lot of time and energy, and I really want to focus on bringing value in the bootcamp. So I don't want that video to take away from it. So if anything, that video should go live after the bootcamp's complete. All right, cool. It's working. Let's just run through some Q&A here. No, they all have their own servers, their own dev servers. They're all locally hosted. So they're not a part of a website per se, right? I don't have them front facing. Nobody can try to hack or exploit my systems unless they gain access to my local networks, which they won't, right? I trust my local network security and everybody in them. Yeah, thanks for answering. Hey, I love this. Thanks for answering, Slinger. But yeah, they're hosted locally on their own sandboxed environments that I have direct access to them from my host PC, from my IP address. Yeah, of course. Hey, thank you for the great questions. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Right on. Yeah, hey, thank you. Can. I love the name. Earlier on, I only read the first 3 letters, but I'm realizing you have like can with one more N each time. That's catchy. That'd be a YouTube channel I would subscribe to just because of the name. Opus 4.6. Yeah, I'll drop them during Q&A. So give me a sec. We're almost done with the build for today. Hey, thanks. I love this. I don't even need to go through all the chat because y'all are answering questions for me. This is what community is all about, right? Not being reliant on one person, helping one another. Love to see it. Love to see it. No. Me personally, no. Listen, I'm not against local models, but I just have no interest in running them. I have no interest in running them right now. That's just my approach. I could go more in depth. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to babble on, but listen, local models are fun to test, and I think they will be the future for most situations. But Opus 4.6 is tried and true. Codex 5.4, 5.3, tried and true, right? Why do a local model when these 2 models are working wonders for me? There's just no reason for me to. Plus the restriction of hardware for me. It's like, I have no interest. There's no purpose for me to run a local model right now. I do on Muddy OS, yes. I'm trying to understand your question. Are you talking about my setup, the way I have things in my network? No, I have separate VMs. So I have a Muddy VM deployed on a Linux distribution called Ubuntu. I have Goat on his own Ubuntu distribution, right? They're on 24/7 in the background. And I love my setup this way because when I do migrate to a server, the snapshots, everything stays in place, right? I don't need to rely on one piece of hardware. I can actually divvy out one piece of hardware to 8+ OC setups with a backup system to where before every patch, I create a snapshot at that moment in time. That way, if something breaks from the update, I just restore that snapshot, right? This is why I'm a big advocate of virtual machines and having this type of structure, but that's because of my background. Not everybody, I think, needs this. Yeah, not yet. It's on my list, but to be honest, no, not yet. Man, it's doing a lot of work right now. Look at this. We are almost done with the build here, and then we'll get into a Q&A. I'm also feeling some soup tonight. It was very cold today. Let's see how it's doing here. Everything looks good there. I'm happy. Ooh, did we discover a bug? Or is it working on something in the background? Yeah, the fact it reset to the main ops dashboard means it's working. We just have to wait. Yeah, I think a workaround, since you have your own virtual machine, you should be able to spin up your own browser profile within Brave, which is our default browser. Just go ahead and do all the search you need to do. And then we can always incorporate a Brave search API key down the road. But find alternatives, right? Let's just not default to that route and then say you can't do it because we don't have that API key set up. There's always an alternative, so. And I'm going to cue that message. Excuse me. Nice. It's looking like it's building out some, I'd love to go view it on the OS, but it's just going to keep refreshing the page. Let's go look at automations. So self-improvement build. Now we have a micro SaaS research. And then it kind of cuts off here. It doesn't show us the whole thing. Maybe it's still building it. Phase 1, market research. Search the web for trending pain points in these categories. Rotate nightly. Developer tools, small business operations, content creator. I think I would, look for complaints on Reddit. So one other thing I'd like to do actually, last 30 days. Oh, you know what? We'll save this for episode 4. We'll save this for episode 4 because this incorporates incorporating a skill. And I don't want to do that yet. I really want to just put all the raw information in the cron. But one thing we're going to do to improve, and if you want to try this with your OC setup right now, go hit up this last 30 days skill. It's an awesome researching skill that this dude gave out for free. I'll go ahead and paste the link here. His name's Matt Van Horn. But I'm going to essentially tie in this skill to our overnight SaaS product that it's going to build for us during the research phase specifically. But let's just go back to chat. Yeah, right there. You see, like it found a roadblock and it said, I can't do it. But never accept I can't do it. Always ask for a workaround. Like I already knew the workaround, so I knew what to say. But in your case, if you ever hit a blocker with your agent, you know, the approach that I would take is there's got to be a workaround. Please reference docs.openclaw.ai for a workaround. Usually that line alone will find you a workaround to whatever it said it can't do for you. It's a little hack with your OC setups that I recommend everybody try whenever they hit a blocker for anything. And I'm shocked this battery hasn't died yet, so I'm going to take a moment while this is working to just swap out this battery for the last portion of this live stream. Perfect. Is it accurate or is it lagging? Oh, it's kind of lagging, isn't it? Sorry, chat. Looks like it might look like I'm lip syncing. I see a slight delay after switching that battery. That's a bummer. What about now? What about now? I think that's better. There's still a slight delay though. Nice. That's much better. Okay. When in doubt, reseat the cable. Look at that. No API key? No problem. Use web_fetch to scrape real resources. Wonderful. Look at that. You're right. There's always an alternative. I should have defaulted from the start instead of blocking on a missing API key. Won't make that mistake again. All right, let's go ahead and test. Let's go to laboratory. Oh, it built out 3? Okay, I'm loving the look of this. One thing we need to improve though. Okay, wow, I see you built out 3 for us. Now, moving forward, it should only be 1 overnight. Now, everything looks perfect as is. The one thing I would like to add is in the Foundry, the ability to click it and then view the prototype. So not only should you do the research and determine what the micro SaaS is, but I want you to actually build it, spin up a web server on another port, right? And have it ready for me to a preview to either approve or reject it. So every morning when I wake up, I want to be able to come in and click on a prototype and actually use it. Right? Actually use, whether it's a landing page that you've built, whatever it is, right? I want you to do the build itself, get as much of that minimum viable product done as possible so that we can test the prototype as well. I know this is a big ask. Let me know what you're going to do to improve that, Cron, and if you need to build out any other features in lab to accomplish this. I know we're kind of going above and beyond today. I really wanted to incorporate this feature within prototype so that you guys can see kind of what happens with it. That way we can visually see just an MVP, that minimum viable product of whatever it is that it's talking about. And one thing we can do to up like how it looks is create a front end design skill for it. I'm not going to do that on this episode. You know, the skills is for episode 4. So I really want to just be disciplined and not let my brain squirrel and do things too much ahead of time because I've already done that. I think we're doing more than we planned to do today. But that's what this process is all about. Just showing you the raw output of me starting with a fresh setup and ending at a working setup, right? So I really hope everyone's finding some value in this one because I feel like we've made a lot of progress today. And you just have a lot of actionable things that you can do based off of everything I've walked you through. Next week is going to be the fun one, though. I'm going to probably be banging my head against the brick wall, so to speak, the metaphorical brick wall when we're wiring things together. We will get frustrated. It will not work first time, okay? But I guarantee you by the end of that episode, we'll get it working. All right, while that's building, let's do some quick Q&A. What's the goal of this setup? So the goal of this setup, like the inspiration of this bootcamp, was to rebuild a version similar to Muddy OS of how I have things functioning for my day-to-day operations. And also overnight prototype building, coming up with ideas, scouring certain sites for pain points and building out products for me overnight. That way in the morning I can come in and say, oh, wow, this is cool. I don't like this, right? Approved. Let's actually proceed with this build. It's just essentially just rebuilding a version of Muddy OS because of how much interest we had in Muddy OS. Additionally, the goal of this setup is I'm going to repurpose it for client work after the demo is complete. I'm going to have to make some changes to it, but it's going to be my sole OS that I'm going to have certain things built in to where clients could, or projects, for example, could go into a WhatsApp group, add features, add bugs, and agents will pull from the bugs chat, pull from the features chat, automatically fix bugs real time, and then add feature builds to weekend builds, right? So it's going to turn into that. But because of how much interest there was in rebuilding Muddy OS, I thought, well, let's just rebuild it live with a lot of my core functionality of how Muddy OS works. You're going to notice here, Muddy OS has the same ops, brain, and labs. It has a lot of the same features. We're literally just building it out all over again. Right? We'll touch on this next week. Next week is the multi-agent stream. It's not that I don't want to answer your question. I just want to make sure it's kind of related to the multi-agent. So let's just finish this build here. Let's check on everything, and then I'll get to this a little bit more detailed. Okay, it looks like, did it build anything? All right, our current prototypes that we have in the Foundry, did you build anything for those yet? And then additionally for the laboratory, it's like, okay, let's say I approve something. I only see the shelve option. I don't see the approve option here. But I also, on all three of these, I don't see any demo that we can spin up. Does that only happen when it gets moved, graduates to the prototypes tab? Help me better understand the process of going from Foundry to prototypes, right? We're so close. We're so close. Yeah, we're definitely going above and beyond today on prototypes. But I think it was going to be a fun demo anyway. That way you guys can start doing your own overnight prototype builders and whatnot. Okay. But going back to this question, so the way to think of it, like you can give as many agents as your system allows, right? You can essentially create as many agents as your resources allow on your main OC setup. You can create separate agent workspaces with all of their own individual memory files and heartbeats, right? But then sub-agents, which are session spawn, they're more isolated from that term, right? Or wait, maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. So you want isolated agents that don't communicate with each other? Is that what you're saying right there? With their own memory, with their own brains, with their own heartbeats? Is that, answer that question first, because maybe I started answering it incorrectly based off of my assumption of how you had that written. I think it probably already is, or a version of it, you know? Because the beauty of open source is you can fork it and build your own version of it and then maintain it internally. I would not be surprised if they have their own forked and that they're maintaining internally, right? Yeah, for sure. I think it's possible. I think anything's possible. I think they're already using their own agents for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'd love to dig more into that. Just let me know if I am interpreting that question correctly. Oh yeah. Well then just follow along next week. Next week, we're going to set all that up. But yeah, I essentially tell my main agent to create separate workspaces for each individual agent based off of the org chart skeleton that we have here. So we're essentially going to have these come to life with their own workspaces, right? But yeah, you communicate that through your main OC agent. You could do it manually, but I'd rather just prompt my agent to do it for me. Oh, look at that. Okay, so prototypes do move this way. Ooh, look at that. A nice landing page. Let's see. Scope shield. I'm guessing scope creep. Yep, scope creep at the source. Paste a messy Slack thread or email chain. Get a structured scope document with deliverables, timelines, budget analysis, risk flags in seconds. Interesting. I would want to see a working model. This is more like a landing page for front-end sales. This is something we can improve on, right? But I think, listen, we're at a great stopping point here. The fact that it's visualizing a nice landing page and it looks solid. Listen, I hate that purple, but this is something we're going to improve on with skills, right? I'm leaving it as is. I think it's been a solid day. Let's see. We knocked that out, knocked that out, knocked that out. We already knocked that out, knocked that out. Now homework. I love it. Homework. Okay. Yeah, so homework for everybody watching. I want you to think critically about how many agents you need or want, right? And always start off with less is more, in my opinion. Less is more. You'll learn more, you'll break less things, you'll actually be happier with your system if you just start with one or two. If you don't know the differences between an agent and a sub-agent are, please go watch yesterday's video. I really wanted to focus it around being educational first, right? I really break down side by side what the key differences are. I try to help visualize it. I've had a lot of good feedback as far as it being educational. So it's a very critical video for you to watch to understand the key differences of the two, right? But sketch out your team. Sketch it out, right? I'm going to be using my iPad with Procreate to sketch things out. I'll airdrop the image file to Goat for next week. That way, if I have any change of heart with, how I want our org to look for this one, next week is when we fine tune our team. We build out individual workspaces per agent. We start building out sub-agents, and then we wire things together so that the PM board is the single source of truth right? And the stand-ups, you can then view the stand-ups and their conversations between one another. One thing I'm also noticing, we have to finish one more thing. I want you to please remove all demo data. Our stand-ups, we have some placeholder demo data, right? Our PM board, it looks like you already removed it. So you actually did half the work. What's up with those daily executive syncs in there? Those are clearly placeholder. Let's remove those, please. Let's see what else. And then I just wanted to confirm for the docs, is our cron set up properly to essentially build out the documentation? And keep in mind, like, I don't want just the system overview to be a main doc. What I want there to be is a master documentation that each section you can click on in the left menu bar. For example, infrastructure, data flow, modules, dashboard, mission control. You can actually click them on that left menu bar and then it populates all of the information related. So I think to start, having, one for each module, and then we have kind of like sub vertical menu options with each feature within each module. I think that's a great way to structure the docs section. Let me know if you have any questions there. Otherwise, everything else looks good. I believe you removed all demo data. I just hit a bug. Were you working? You were not working. I just hit a bug trying to access brain and then skills. It actually goes blank on me. Please look into that immediately. I want you to fix this before we end this live stream. Yeah, every time I go to brain and then skills, I get a black screen. Console log shows. Listen, I'm going to copy paste the browser console log for you as well. Yeah, and everybody watching, this is a trick, is anytime you're running into weird issues and you don't know how to explain it, like try to explain it and then go and hit F12 on most of your keyboards and you can pop open this console log to see errors on that web page. So I'm just gonna paste in these errors for it. That way there's gonna be no back and forth and guessing with this fix. It's gonna fix it first shot. Let's go. Looking forward to it. Yes, I do. But it's all internal. It's all ClearMud related, right? Client work, I still work out of the CLI right now. I do use Muddy as an assistant though. But as far as automations for other projects outside of ClearMud, no, not right now. Really? Like what? Like the Bootcamp style? Is he building something out right now? It'd be cool to see. I know most of his live streams recently has just been mainly just not builder oriented, right? I loved his older live streams where he was actually building and showing more of the process. It's good to see him streaming though. It looks like he was offline for like over a week. I was wondering what happened to him. I'll have to tune in after we end this one. So the skills does come week 4. We'll kind of touch on it next week. But the first thing you need to think about is what repeatable tasks do you do that only require a subagent to spawn, right? A temporary session to spawn. There is a way to link skills to those temporary sessions, right? And they do get logged, right? Subagents, technically speaking, don't have individual memory. they rely on the memory of their parent agent. And every task they do gets logged in the parent agent's memory, right? So a lot of things to understand with that. Can you ask to remember to check the console log for errors before completing the loop? Interesting. Interesting. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out. Everything still works great. Skills is now working again. No more bug. Solid. All right. Okay. Bugs fixed. Looks like skills directory crashed. Demo data removed. Already cleaned from earlier. Task clients already cleaned from earlier. Docs restructured. Let's actually go and check that. I'm curious. Ops, docs. Look at that. Beautiful. Much better. I'm going to have it kind of optimize that a little bit more. But listen, I think we're at a great stopping point. We made a lot of progress today. A lot of progress today. It's not perfect, but I think it's solid. So let's move into the Q&A. This is the time to ask all your questions. I know I've been trying to get to them throughout the stream intermittently, but now's the time. Yeah, we're at a great stopping point. This is solid. So let's go here. What else? Yeah, start thinking about your agents that you want to set up. And I'll start thinking about what we're setting up as well. But if you're following along, right, the homework is more so for you. If you're following along on this build, this is a critical step. Like, don't just start building it out. Think first, right? Even though I am a big advocate for just build it, break it, and then build it again. You'll learn a lot more this way. Yeah, so it is desktop right now. I do plan on setting up a server distribution, but for now, like everything's local here. So once I get my ESXi server up and running back in California, I'm probably going to spin up, anywhere between 5 and 8 OC setups with all of the resources available on that machine. And there'll be a mix of Ubuntu desktop and Ubuntu server for testing purposes. Yeah. Wow. Solid episode. I'm loving it. We made a lot of progress. The only thing that's bugging me is this dock on the bottom. We might have to move it to the top left. I'm okay with it for now, but loving this skills view. This is something for us to improve on as well. Yeah, we'll have to do a front-end design skill as well for the prototypes, but that'll come episode 4. Hey, thank you, thank you. Okay. Nah, move it to the center. What do you mean move it to the center? Like the center of the screen? Can't have it in the center. Yeah, I'm with you. And this is like, right now I'm okay with where it's at. I think once we start fine tuning things, that's when I'm 100% agree with you. It's a little too wide, a little too much spacing. So we'll clean that up. But I'm right there with you, Slinger. Oh yeah, that's what thanks everyone for waiting patiently. Thanks to everyone for waiting patiently. Let me get a Discord link out there. We're going to rock 10 invites right now. Yeah, and I want to reiterate, like, the purpose of this Discord is not just to ask me questions. It's for community to come together and start building together, asking each other questions. I have to time block, like, when I'm active in it, just due to my schedule and certain things I'd like to focus on. I'm not saying I'm not going to answer your questions, but what I'm hoping is that people don't just come in to feed questions to me. Like, share your difficulties, share your troubles, share your findings, help one another. Right? Like, I'll always chime in when I can and when I notice things and I'm attentive and I'm there, but there's times when I'm not. So, like, I really hope everybody in the Discord understands that, right? It's a place for everyone to come together and help one another. Interesting. Try on an alt account. That one should be good. That one should be good. Let me go access those links from server settings instead of the drop-down module. Server settings, invites. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of invites out there that people can still go find from We'll do one more and then, okay. So you got it. Perfect. Right on. I don't see too many more questions coming in, huh? Oh yeah, I do want to take this moment to highlight a little something we dropped on Friday. It's completely free, right? Please don't abuse it. But you can go paste in a YouTube URL from your favorite AI channel that extracts actionable prompts from a video. So if they're talking about how to build something, it will, listen, it's in beta. So we're gonna, work on improving it. But it's a fun little tool that we built live between, I want to say, it was last Friday and this Monday's live stream. We came up with the prototype. It was from an older idea of mine. So just go to promptbrowser.net and play with it. Go enter into YouTube. We've already started running some from other channels, as you can see here. Like, look, apparently how to build a polymarket copy trading bot with zero coding. Look, it'll try to intelligently figure out what prompts, like how to prompt from it. And you can just copy paste these code blocks. It tells you, okay, these were instructions given to Openclaw agent to securely store trading credentials for further use. Cool, awesome prompt. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. Show some love on Twitter with that tool. It's a fun tool, it's a free resource. I had a lot of fun putting that together. Videos come out every Tuesday and Thursday. Every Tuesday and Thursday, without fail. Let's go. Let's go. Alexander knows. Are they tasks that are repeatable? Or are they more like you want it to do something randomly throughout the day? It says it's going to do it, but then it never takes action on it. Which one is it? Like, is it a scheduled cron or the second scenario? Right here. We'll also give you a breakdown of how this works too. Let's go demo it real quick because I had a lot of fun. Oh, we can't pull real-time transcript from him, so I'll do the live stream after the fact. But you know one thing we can do? Let's go to his channel real quick, and let's go look at his past live 11 days ago. And let's run it, shall we? So all you do is you paste in your URL here, extract. It's going to download the transcript. It uses Gemini 3.1 Flash Lite with high reasoning. I have a certain number set of rules here for it to work a certain way. It first detects via YouTube ID if there's a duplicate, et cetera, et cetera. But let's see what prompts it extracts from his live stream 11 days ago. Okay. I want a new Openclaw on this computer that's powered by ChatGPT. Okay. Openclaw profile. Okay. I feel like, yeah, we have to improve the logic. I also didn't watch that live stream, so I don't know exactly what's discussed. But yeah, this is the tool. It's in beta. I'm going to work on it at least during live streams every week to slowly improve it and push out new iterations of it. But as I mentioned, it's completely free to use. So. Just doing something now. It says what it will do, but wants me to tell it again to actually do it. Ask it. Say, hey, I keep prompting you to do X, Y, and Z, but you don't actually do it. What's happening on the back end? Is there something blocking you from actually taking action? Right? Start to ask it more detailed questions as to like, why are you not triggering when I tell you to build something or do something? There must be some blocker that's occurring in the logs. So ask it to check its logs to see what's happening, right? That would be my first approach. Oh, are you talking about the prompt browser? Hey, thank you. I'm glad you like it. If you're gotta love a live demo. I know, right? I'm curious to see once this transcript becomes available. Let's actually go look at episode 1 from us. Where is it? This one. So it actually does. It did intelligently, like, I think we prompted more than this. So this was one of my first scans. But look at episode 1's Bootcamp. Hey, Goat, I know I already assigned a name for you. Bam, rebuild Muddy OS into 3 apps, Ops, Brain, Lab, organize in a projects directory as Goat OS, use Mac OS, right? So like it did a pretty decent job pulling my prompts from episode 1. I'm curious to see with how many times we prompted Goat today. I added a rule. It initially like had this cap rule where it was only generating a certain amount of prompts per video. So I removed that restraint. So like we're going to keep improving this week by week. But I think it's an awesome tool. I had a lot of fun putting it together, and as long as people don't abuse it and it's used in moderation, I think it can stay free for life, right? But yeah, listen, let's wrap up the Q&A. Let me know what you're building. What's like this live stream, what are you excited to build? What are you excited to work on after watching this? I got to say, I'm excited for Friday's live stream because I'm loving the approach of building in public and shipping something live. We shipped Prompt Browser between Friday and Monday. Friday, I'm pretty sure I have an idea for the pivot for Claw Crib on the direction it's going to go. Shout out Derek in the community for giving me an idea earlier. I think it's going to be a very helpful resource for everybody. What I'm thinking of is going to be free. And I'm looking forward to building this live on Friday. So maybe between Friday and Monday, we'll have a new version of clawcrib.com live. And yeah, listen, we've been at it for 3 hours, a little over 3 hours. So let me finish answering this question, fit in any last minute questions. But I think we're at a great stopping point. We did a lot today. Okay. So one other thing to say is don't tell me I'm absolutely right. Tell me why you didn't do what I asked you to do and tell me what you're going to do to fix it moving forward, right? This does take some back and forth. I remember I went through a phase with Muddy that it did this to me too. It's just all about talking, like, how is it thinking on the back end? There's something happening in the logs that it's not telling you about that is blocking it from doing what you want it to do. That's what I think is happening there. I would say if you're not already in the Discord, come finish asking questions in the Discord. I hope that's helpful. I hope you get that fixed. Just to let you know, you're not alone. Like, that did happen to me at some point, but it's just taking the time to prompt back and forth. And don't just get frustrated with your bot and say, you're still not doing it. You're still not doing it. Dig into why. Dig into the logs, have it reference the docs, right? Get a better understanding at what's truly happening on the back end that's preventing it from doing what you want it to do. Then you have a better understanding of how to communicate and configure it to make sure it doesn't do that moving forward. So I hope that's helpful there. And yeah, all right. Well, hey, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 2 of our Openclaw Bootcamp. Next week is going to be a fun one. Listen, we build that AI agent, that multi-team setup. We wire everything together. We're not going to stop live streaming next week until it's wired together and actually working. So what else? Yeah, you have your homework for this week. Really think about how you want your agent team to be built out, how you want it to operate. Please drop a comment below if you're watching this recording. If there's anything you think I can do to improve the way I answer Q&A. I think today was pretty solid. We didn't get too off track, but I think I can improve with not allowing myself to get focused on the questions versus the demo, right? I think having a more strict time block in my head of like, focus demo first, then at a certain intermission, actually answer the questions. So really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Hey, thank you, Marco. Thanks for being here. See you next time. See you next time. See you, Slinger. See you, Alexander, Fish, Binary, Racking. Just gonna do a quick shout out as we sign off. Spartan, thank you. Dark Ice, thank you. Sharma, thank you. Gob Izzy, thank you. Swap, thank you. Pepe, thank you. Fish died. I don't know how I skipped over you. Thank you. And I can't keep scrolling up. That's as far as it goes. So just once again, thank you for tuning in to this bootcamp. Subscribe so you don't miss when we go live. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, unless I say otherwise in the post. And yeah, just want to thank everyone for being here. Happy building, and I'll catch you on Friday.